Hello, everyone. My name is Tim, and I'm the co-founder of Reddit. I also VP of Reddit. So I'm going to structure this sharing as very quick. I think a quick introduction about myself on how I actually started Reddit. Back in 5 6 years ago, I did right downstairs, trying to explore my startup and format. And then I'm open the floor if you have any questions. I try to. I'm not an expert in a lot of things. A lot of things that I don't know. But we're trying our best to try to answer some of your questions. So I'll actually get started. Back then, and I actually graduated in 2016. I studied BBA economics. I went there in 2012. And then I actually met my partner in 2014. And we started with a dream. We started with something really dumb idea. So we started off as doing something, sending postcards for free for people. The main reason is I was pretty fascinated of doing startup myself and being an entrepreneur. And then I asked my partner, what do you want to do? And then she said, I really want to receive more postcards. And I was like, okay, why don't we do it for free? Try to make it a freemium model, make people send postcards for free to us. And then we started off this little project in 2013. We still call it Reddit, same name from here. And then we actually create a lot of different postcards on our platform. We find out designers. We find out a lot of our friends to design for us. We work with some of the societies from universities to create some of the postcards. And then we put it online, and people can choose it for free. And we're going to mail it right away for you. And how we actually earn money is we find advertising to advertise. We try to find advertising. Or we actually fail attempts and finding any advertisers at all. And then there was a moment that there is a company which is still around right now called Panda, and then they find us that are you interested? The marketing manager told us that they're not interested in doing advertising on free postcard. It's a dumb idea because we charge $2 per postcard, and then they're technically paying $2 to reach to. It was just it's not economical for them at all. While let's say the CPM in Facebook is $50, $50 you're going to reach 1,000 persons. For us, pay $2 to reach 2 people. So they say it's a dumb idea. I'm not going to pay anything for your postcards. But then they ask us, are you willing to distribute leaflets to university students? Because I was still studying HAUSD, and then they're trying to distribute leaflets inside campus, and apparently campus couldn't allow you to distribute any leaflets because it's commercial. And then we say we can try to help you. And then we managed to do something like this. We went to different halls and then slot in the leaflets and put into their mailboxes, and then take a photo of them. So we do a lot of this. And when you're just running around the campuses around Hong Kong, all you to actually you smuggle inside different halls because it's not allowed, and then we try to put in the leaflet as a promotion for Panda. We started to earn not a particular amount, around 100,000 at the moment, a large for me. And then we realized there's a sort of aha moment for us. Is there anything we can do to help friends to reach more university students? If there's one friend that has particular needs and willing to pay $100,000 to do something as dumb as putting postcard into mailboxes of university students. And again, is there any other way to reach a larger group of people in a more cost effective? So at that moment, back then in 2015, Instagram was growing very, very quickly. I think in 2014, I still don't have Instagram accounts. there anything we can do with it? Can we bring anything that is all of my friends are actually saying and do advertising, do promotion? So what we end up thinking of is we want to try to find our friends to share information about the brands they like through Instagram to their friends. So it's a friend sharing to friends concept. Related being as we call the term context. And so there are actually two questions that we try to ask. Would a friend be interested in this idea? Instagram and not large influencers, all accounts, someone like me and my partner Winnie, who has only like 500 to 2,000 followers. Are they interested to find a group of people with that little amount of influencers to do promotion? Number two is, will our friends be interested? So we end up working on a very, very sort of lean startup way, with a very small, non-techy way in starting validating the business side. So we started a Google form and we use WhatsApp. That's all. We use WhatsApp to send around, I think we have a common total around 3,000 friends. We send every friend a notification or a message asking, are you interested in joining a particular campaign? And then one friend and tell them, we don't have anything at the moment, but we tell them we have 1,000 influencers, micro-influencers are interested in joining your campaign. And then that's how we actually all started everything. Realize that some of our friends are interested in so maybe 20 or 30%. Some of the brands are willing to pay us. And that is actually how the whole spread idea comes up. So right now, the official introduction was started as we are basically the largest micro-influencer platform in Hong Kong. There are around 30,000 micro-influencers right now on our app. We have our own backend system, own algorithm in choosing brands. And we have actually worked with over 1,000 brands so far. So today, we actually expand into different marketing segments as sort of adjacent market. One is local market, which is focusing on micro-influencers in particular, and into doing some of the Chinese marketing, focus on Chinese interest. And also we're doing some of the live streaming marketing for a lot of brands right now. Yes, and we have worked with multiple large brands, MNCs, around 1,000 of them so far. So another interesting story is around 2018, we do an M&A with a payment company called UFK. So in some sense, we sort of took it a little bit again in 2018. What we're trying to do is a payment as marketing strategy. So QFPay is one of the largest mobile payment companies in Hong Kong. What they do is payment processing for mobile payment, Alipay. So let's say when you go to a particular store, try to pay through Alipay or WeChat Pay, where it is a particular post machine to scan your code. And that QR code, that system, the settlement is done by us. So we get all the information from who is actually purchasing what and what is the amount of the purchase. What we're trying to do is merging payment data and marketing data to do a cohesive payment of marketing to our brands. So Hong Kong, I think there are some of the large groups who are using global business, L'Oreal, LVMH, Richemont, etc. So they will find us for collecting payments and also influencers. Right now, we are in multiple countries, Japan, Hong Kong, China, Thailand, and Dubai. And that is all how I started everything. Back then, 6 years ago, I started in UHK High Center. I was studying in the USD, but then my primary is and we went into the pre-incubation center. And we started with a WhatsApp Google form. Started with a dumb idea, which is sending postcards for free. To around 2017, we had 6 full-time people, and right now we have around 80 to 10 people that are working with us. So that is basically my whole journey till today. What I think I really learned a lot is a lot of dumb ideas that you have right now. Looking back, it's still a dumb idea, but then it's going to lead you to something else if you keep trying and working on the project. So this is basically my sharing. Is there any questions?
Thanks. It was a very impressive work, I would say, of your journey. And I would like to know what is the biggest challenge all the way in journey 6 years plus entrepreneurship? What's the biggest challenge in it? And also at the same time, do you get any problem when pitching ideas to other VC funds, doctors, and journey? Do you have those problems or difficult times at all?
I think there's many questions of the challenge that I actually understood. For challenges, I think the largest one is always about people management. There are two main challenges. Number one is managing people. When I grew from like me and my partner into 10 people, there starts to have politics. There's just 10 people, there's politics. And then when you grow to 80 people, there's system, how do you manage, how the HR system grows, how do you manage different teams, how do you manage incentives, how do you retain people. That is the most challenging part for me, and still the most challenging part right now. We will try very hard to figure out how we can recruit, attract the best talent to our company, and at the same time retain them. I'm still learning a lot about that, but then right now it's still a great challenge. The second biggest challenge is for our company in particular is our market size is actually very, very small and very, very niche. So Peter Thiel, if you haven't heard from him, he's the co-founder of Techathon. He has a talk talking about monopoly is very good. It's a great talk. You can what he mentioned is want to be the monopoly in a large market. So that is what Google and search, Facebook and social media. But at the same time, you can start from niche. So you start from a very small segment. Let's say Facebook starts from Harvard University. That's how they start. There's 8,000 students. I don't know, 80,000 students, and then they expand globally into a way larger market. They capture being the monopoly power in a particular niche market, and then they grow from there. The thing about Spreadit is we capture a particular niche market with one of my co-influencers in Hong Kong, particularly, and I think we are basically the monopoly power in Hong Kong. We earn way higher profit margin or profit than our second competitor. But at the same time, the company is such a small market, we constantly have to find the next thing to work on. And that starts to be quite challenging constantly because you have to have new ideas. And some of the time, the next idea you come up with might not be something as profitable or as high return as micro. So one of the best things is you can do the same thing over and over again with a large market, and then you can maintain a particular competitive edge. So the easiest example are the big tech guys. Facebook, they keep doing the same thing again and again. Amazon just keep doing GMV again and again, lowering costs. But the market size is so large, they can technically do it for 20 years until they start the ceiling. But for us, probably we have already hit the ceiling, and we have to find the next big thing. So that is quite a challenge for us. And talking about investors, we started off for Spreadit, we didn't find any investors for M&A. The main reason is we actually have enough funding or cash generated from our own business to support our own growth. Before M&A, I think we grew around 30 people. But after the with the M&A, there are a lot more capital investments when we start talking to people, raise a way larger amount. So what they are looking for is usually about the market potential, monopoly power, other things I just I don't know. I hope I answered your question.
My question is actually a comprehensive system, right? And you're like how do you think for the person how do you
I think there's not sure where we're, but then me and my partner Winnie is very hungry for success at the moment. So we technically find maybe 1,000 friends, and then there's one friend that will buy us. And then as long as you find enough friends, there will be some people who start to believe in you, start to give a little money, and then from that onwards, you can give sort of attraction. You can tell, let's say, after L'Oreal work with us, I see all the L'Oreal work with us. I see all the Madonna work with us, and then KFC. So it's not rocket science. What we just do is keep calling, emailing. We even try going to their offices and saying that we are trying to be marketing. We do things like that, and that helps us in starting a project. So I don't have a particular formula for you, but then what we do at that moment is we focus a lot on clients and friends and what they think, and whether they're going to pay us for our services. That is basically the question we're trying to ask. And how we find them is just relentless cold calling and cold emailing. That is basically what we do, and then doing Facebook messaging.
and also another question is how do you see nowadays like leadership and fiber? Like I feel like it's pretty much 60 years ago, and nowadays it seems like focus on technology government. They are like and actually solve like how much funding and think like more technology.
I'm not sure whether I get the question, but then what I think about starting a business is technically return on capital. How much capital you invested in and how much return you get. The VCs looking at different stories. What they're looking at is growth potential, whether there's an exit opportunity, whether a particular topic is hot or popular at the moment. So I personally don't think starting a business is being an entrepreneur because you have to be compliant with something. For example, you can't be a real entrepreneur if you can bring in efficiency or bring in growth in a boring industry. There's a company in China called Techathon. What they do is basically distributing BMW, but they do it way more efficient than their next competitor. Their inventory turnover rate is like 7 days, while the next competitor is 28 days. And they're tremendously profitable. They don't need to raise any funding because they generate so much cash from their own business model. Is it a technology side? Is it a boring industry? It's probably a boring industry. It's probably not something that brings in for a new technology. It's not a new cutting edge technology. But what they do is they bring in the efficiency concept in this particular market or this particular industry to a tier 3, 4, 5 city, and making people from tier 3, 4, 5 cities enjoy a particular automobile in a lower price because they're more efficient than their competitors, so they can price it lower than their competitors, so they can enjoy a lower price in buying the same automobile from them. So to me myself is I don't have a particular complaint, like have to be tech, most tech happy company to be a big company or a big entrepreneur. Bringing different efficient, different concepts to helping different, solving different problems. The core concept is how much capital you put in for how much return. That is basically the equation of that. Any more questions? So, I think we're in for lunch. All right. Thank you very much.